This time on Plastic Weekly, I sit down with Toronto boy Shaun Hunter to talk about how he handled setting, coaching, and training at the same time, and what it means to let it all go. Stick around. All right, this interview is a good long one, so I'll keep the intro short. Shaun and I talked about training to be a national level athlete while also being a head route setter and head coach, trying to cope with concrete walls in the modern era, setting and coaching at this summer's national training camp in Montreal, as well as our personal experiences with youth coaching and how to move on. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Fun talk time.
So I want to know who you are. We've seen each other around. We're not the kind of people that walk up to folks and then just start talking to them and being friends. So I've known your face for a long time, but only since we started working together in the OCF in the last couple months that we actually spent time talking.
Yep.
So for everybody else that knows your face but has no idea who you are, can you, let's start with who were you before you got into climbing?
Who was I before climbing?
Who the hell was Shaun Hunter?
I was Shaun Hunter, who graduated high school, had no idea what he wanted to do with his life, started climbing at Toronto Climbing Academy. Within 3 months, used all of the money in my bank account for memberships. The end of that third month, I had 43 cents in my bank account.
Yikes.
And the manager comes up to me and said, "Do you want to work here? You could climb for free if you work here." I was sold, absolutely sold. And here I am 11 years later, still working at a climbing gym, a different one now, but
yeah,
the free climbing just suckered me in. And obviously I started working more than I was climbing. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the deal with the devil. It works out exactly not
sure.
how you planned. How'd you first walk into TCA?
So I was doing another sport called parkour. It wasn't as popular back then as it is now. And I think when I first started climbing, it was 2005 or 2006. And then I just walked into TCA because a buddy of mine was a member there. And I just wanted to cross-train for parkour. And I remember they had some kind of deal for a membership. You take the beginner lesson and they waive the admin fees and you get a membership or whatever. It's the deal. Yeah. Awesome deal. And I went in and I told the girl at the desk, I want to do the lesson and I'm going to pay for the membership right now. And she said, "Are you sure? What if you don't like it?" And I said, "I'll like it." And here I am still liking it. So I was at TCA for 4 years. The first year, I was probably the best belayer they've ever had. I did every single birthday party back to back, 4 or 5 in a row, Saturday, Sunday. And then after that year, I started working the desk, and then I started route setting. I did their youth programs and stuff like that. Started coaching a little bit. They didn't have they had kind of maybe an unofficial team, and I coached a couple kids that went to a couple comps. And then after that 4 years there, TCA relocated, and then I relocated to True North Climbing, where I started all the youth programs and the summer camp, the team there, which started at 4 kids, and now it's at 36 this year. And I've been at True North. This is my 8th year at True North.
Damn.
Yeah. So time flies. I've spent
feels like yesterday, man.
I've spent all of my 20s in a climbing gym.
Yeah.
I started climbing when I was 19, and now I'm 30. I'm so 30. And I went to the training camp in Montreal with the national youth team, and some of the team physios and one of the coaches was like, "Oh, are you 21, 22?" I'm like, "No, I may look young, but I must be a vampire or something." But
yikes.
Yeah.
Before you started climbing, were you athletic at all? Were you into sport? I don't know where parkour came from, but what about before that?
I was athletic after grade 6. I had really bad asthma.
Okay.
Up until grade 6, so I couldn't run. I couldn't do any sports. My brother tried to get me into basketball, and I couldn't dribble a ball. And then in grade 6, it just kind of went away. And then I played soccer. I did rep and all-star house league soccer for a couple years. And then high school, I kind of switched and I did football for 1 year. And then I started doing parkour. And then my last year of high school, I kind of dropped football and soccer. And I did a bunch of drama classes.
Nice.
And was in every school play and just a bunch of stuff like that.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know, I think I like talking and I like
Cool.
interacting and working with creative people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I guess that's why I like route setting and stuff.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, and then it was either kind of pursue something in acting after high school or parkour, and then I just kind of found climbing, and then
Yeah.
that was that.
My like biggest regret about high school is not dipping into like visual arts or
Yeah.
dramatic arts or like all those other classes that you're never going to get a chance to. Like I haven't touched like paint since
Yeah.
grade 8 art class. And like that'd be a cool thing to do sometimes. In high school, it has everything there, and you get super tunnel vision. Like I was a music kid, and yeah, man. So I like props for like grade 12 being like, I'm gonna do this.
I was just gonna do it.
That's pretty cool.
I also did my last year. I did a guitar class
Yeah.
to try and learn, and it was going well at first. And then my best friend transferred to the class, and as soon as that happened, I knew I was gonna fail. And we both failed the class because we just goofed off.
Just messing around the whole time.
I finished with a 3% in guitar, and my buddy finished he finished with a 0.1%. The teacher broke it down to that, and that's the only class I've ever failed was guitar, just because of my best buddy.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Now I'm actually learning to play the guitar now.
Wow.
Because I'm like, screw it. And then Johnny at the gym is teaching me how to play.
Nice, man.
He's bought a guitar like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's now or never. So
I like every couple of years I end up buying a guitar, and so I've just got a pile of them in the back of my apartment. Like I can like chunk some chords on it, but it's not good. You did a lot of sports. Were you always like pretty competitive, or what about sports kept you
I'm super competitive. I just want to beat everyone. Like I want to be the best coach. I want to be the best climber. I want to be the best route setter. And I think one of the things, because I train, because I compete, and I think one of the things that keeps me going is I just want to crush all those kids that are coming up out of all these teams. And one of my goals as a coach is to like coach an athlete who is stronger than me.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, I want to just crush all the kids I coach. So I'm trying hard to make them strong, but also to train and crush them. So
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cross motivation.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, let's talk about what you're doing then, because you're kind of like wearing multiple hats right now. So
Yes.
you've gone through a lot of climbing. What do you do right now?
So right now this season's kind of over for competitive climbing as an athlete and kind of like as a coach in Ontario. But throughout the season, I'm pretty much like all my hats. I'm the head setter of the gym. So commercial setting in True North. And then I set 4 of the OCF comps this year. I set 2 bouldering locals, bouldering provincials, and difficulty provincials. And I was either the head setter, co-head setter for those comps. I coached at a bunch of comps in Ontario. I coached at both nationals. I competed at National Series comp, and I competed at nationals. And then throughout the year, I'm coaching in the gym Sunday through Thursday, pretty much all day Sunday, every night Monday through Thursday, and then setting almost every day. And then after all that, I'm training to compete. So it's like maybe throughout the season, maybe averaging maybe 50 to 60 hour work weeks, and then all the training on top of that, and then commuting to the gym and getting home and just making dinner, making food for the next day, sleeping, and then repeating all that. And then if I'm going to coach at comps, because last season the OCF there's like the 2-day comps now.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get 1 day off a week and
Yeah.
just like coaching, training, setting, and like I set the 2 bouldering locals. At Coyote. I was traveling to altitude after setting to train.
How long were the setting days, and then when were you
The
training?
setting days, it was me, Jody, and Dylan. I think I got there on the Tuesday, and then so maybe I'd finish we'd start maybe 9 or 10 o'clock. You finish around 8 p.m., and then I'm driving to altitude and training, and then getting home and stretching. So if I don't stretch, I'm going to get injured, and then making food, and then repeating that. So yeah, it was crazy. Like, yeah.
So you're 30 years old.
I'm
So
old as hell. I'm 30.
I just turned 28, so we're all in the
So
same.
we're all dying
We're all in the same
slowly.
ballpark. Yeah, like my knee hurts now. But so what are your goals for competitive climbing when you're at the the dead old age of 30? Like, what do you expect from yourself when you start the season? Because what I'm thinking is you want to be the best coach, you want to be the best route setter. Like, when you combine all those together, it's pretty hard to be the best at all of them. So specifically for your competitive climbing career yourself, what are your goals each season?
For so 2015, I was alternate for the Canadian Open national team.
Yeah.
And I went to 4 World Cups, and that was the goal for that year. 2016, I had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And and I didn't compete. I didn't train as hard as I should have. That was good. It was good taking.
When
like
you start with a
season off.
60-hour work week
But-
and then add a relationship,
And then add
to
a
that,
relationship.
that's hard, man.
It's busy.
Yeah.
And then this season, I trained my butt off. And then for Open Nationals out west, I just didn't peak for that comp.
Yeah.
I peaked a couple weeks later and was feeling awesome. And then at Nationals, I was still tired from the training. And I don't want to make any excuses or anything, but it was tough, like going to Vancouver, coaching the kids at Youth Nationals, and then going to the other hive to train, and then coming back to Toronto for a week, and then going to Edmonton for a week.
Man.
It was tough, and just all of that combined, it was just not my best performance. I think I finished like 30th or 31st. Like it was awful. But going into next season, like I want to actually make the team. I do not want to be an alternate. I want to come in the top 6,
Yeah.
make finals, and be on the actual team and go to all the World Cups just for experience, to have fun, just to learn to climb better as an athlete, learn how the setting is, help my setting when I set these comps for all these kids, and yeah.
What are you going to do differently this year then? Like that's a pretty big ask, man. Top 6 in Canada. Like I look at the top 6 from this year and I'm like, that's pretty tight, man.
Yeah, it's very hard, but yeah, I don't want to shoot for the moon. I want to shoot for the stars, you know? So yeah, it's tough. And actually this year, like I'm 30 now. I'm not getting any younger.
No.
Unless there's some kind of magic monkey paw or something you can make some wishes on. But yeah, actually next year I'm not coaching at True North. I'm just gonna set and compete in set comps.
Okay.
So I'll have my nights free to train.
Cool.
And I'll have some training partners. There's a couple kids who kind of aged out on the team.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll be training and climbing with them a little bit. So I'll have some to climb with, because throughout last season, it's like all the training I'm doing is alone, and it sucks. Just training alone, doing everything on your own, finding the willpower to like try hard alone. So next year I'll have a couple training partners. I'll have my evenings free, so I won't get home super late. So I'll be able to recover better from all the training. And so I really want to focus on setting and competing next season. I will be coaching like Team Canada in Austria and Pan Ams.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I won't be coaching the house team at True North. So.
Well, I think it's as a head setter for his facility, you're gonna have a huge impact on the climbers and the kids there anyway, right? And if you're training there, you're still gonna be like at the very least a role model, but you still get to see everybody, and I know. Stepping away from that stuff is super difficult.
Yeah, it was tough for like the past couple years. I've been doing like 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
Like head setting and head coaching. And even before that, like we had Kellen. Kellen was at Coyote.
Yeah.
And he came on board 4 years ago. And before that,
That was 4 years ago?
I know, 4 years ago. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So I was doing the youth rec programs and the team and setting.
Yeah.
So thank goodness Kellen has come on board, and he was the youth program coordinator, and now we have another person who started doing that.
Cool.
And then Kellen and me kind of split some of the coaching and head setting responsibilities, and now Kellen and one of our other coaches will be splitting the head coaching responsibilities. And then I'll still have Kellen and Johnny. We're kind of like splitting some of the head setting responsibilities, just because it's a lot of work. There's a lot of new gyms.
Yeah, man.
We want to be one of the best gyms and have the best setting, so we're trying to have a higher rotation with the routes and bouldering and stuff like that. Having less stuff up on the walls, but making the quality a little bit better. So it's a really good setting crew and team we have at True North. Johnny's been setting for like 9 years. I've been setting for like 9 years, and Kellen's been setting for like 7 or 8 years. So there's a lot of experience, and I think a lot of people don't know Kellen and Johnny, but Kellen comes from Coyote and Johnny comes from Rock and Chalk, and Rock and Chalk has produced a lot of strong climbers and a lot of good route setters.
Yeah, Rock and Chalk is like it's like
crazy,
the seed of so much of like Canadian route setting, especially, and like climbing talent for some reason comes out
Dustin
of Newmarket.
Curtis came out of Rock and Chalk,
Aaron
Harry
Eden,
Briggs,
Joey
Aaron
Leno,
Eden,
all
Sonny
that
Trotter
stuff.
came
Dude.
out. Like it's
stupid.
And I'm
I don't know
sure
what's
it
going
hasn't
on
even
up
changed
there.
that much in a couple years.
No.
it's like 25 years old. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
I'm sure every hold in there is older than all the youth competitors who are climbing.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, man. There's shit, man. See, where was I going with this?
Some of the goals for competing next year, definitely like actually making the team.
Okay, that's what I want to ask you about. Like, I have so much stuff I want to talk to you about, but I'm going to get into this. You guys just built some more wall space in your gym.
Build some more
what
wall
did you
space.
build, and why did you build it?
We built, so there's not a lot of room in True North.
Okay.
A lot of the additions we've built ourselves. The training room, it's pretty much almost every year the team, it's like, oh, we want something else in the training room. And John, the owner, is super open for us adding things to the gym, like stuff that we could, like little construction projects we could do ourselves. So the training room has changed over the years, and it's always like benefited the team and the members, and we put in a moon board. And now this year, we're kind of focusing on like slab climbing and, kind of coordination, comp style kind of problems.
Yep.
And a lot of that terrain, where we've set those problems, that terrain has been where the route climbers are. So one of our only slab walls, there's top ropes on it. So for the additions that we've put on top of the bouldering wall, we have a slab wall, which is kind of 13 to 14 feet high, 20 feet long. And then we have another overhanging wall, which is like 20, 25 degrees. So the overhanging wall will be like a backfill kind of wall.
Okay. And
then the slab wall will just be for the kids training slab for comps. And then some of the members go on it, but it's mostly for the kids and rec programs, the pre-comp and advanced kids and stuff like that. And we added another little wall down by the party room for like the little tiny like rec kids, like the 6 to 8 and like 8 to 10 kids. Because we have little problems for them.
Yeah.
And we change for the rec. They're like spoiled. They get new problems every week. The rec programs.
Rad.
So the little guys and then the older guys. We have a traverse wall for the older rec guys, and so it's a good rotation for them. So
cool.
It's a little bit more space and using the space on top of the bouldering wall.
So you mentioned on top of that with these additions, you're also trying to cut down on how much stuff you have on your main wall, but like a higher quality. And that's something that like I see a lot of gyms doing, especially as there's like more influence from these newer gyms that are putting up usually less. But I mean, they also start with, the gym I come from and the gym you come from a different generation. So the initial investment,
we like miss the next generation. It's
we're
crazy.
kind of like the last concrete gyms. In Ontario, probably, right? Us and Grand River.
Like I just posted a picture on our social media, the gym's social media, I think yesterday, of all the different colors, all the different shades of green that we have.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and Johnny organized it, and it's like 11 shades of green we have. We missed the like standard color like setting by like a couple of years.
Yeah, we went through the same thing.
We're paying for it. Like it sucks.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna have to spend like $20,000 in green to like fix it.
Just take it slow.
What's worse is the owner is colorblind and he like climbs in the gym, right? So it's a struggle setting there sometimes with all our crazy shades.
So when you're talking about setting less but like higher quality, this is a question I have because I've never been like in charge of a setting program. At most I've like offered feedback as to what the best customer experience might be. But when you decide to do that, with the amount of different types of people climbing, having lots of problems helps benefit everybody. Because
Yeah.
you'll set a thing that you hate, and then you'll watch somebody have like an epiphany moment
love
on it.
shit.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what you put on the wall. I tell all the setters, they're like, "Oh, I don't really like my problem." Someone will like your problem. They
Yeah.
might not be a good climber, but they will like your problem.
So when we talk about putting up less but higher quality
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm sure at this point it's always an experiment. You can always change
sure.
it back if you have to.
Yeah.
But like, what are you gonna try and be changing about the setting at your gym to justify fewer problems up?
So in the past month or two, Kellen has stepped up in like his responsibilities, and we're kind of co-head setting the gym. And Johnny's the assistant head setter, and we all kind of discussed, and we wanted to switch our bouldering wall to the problems being set by color. Which, if you've ever been to True North, it's kind of like how
There's a lot of tape on that
Coyote.
wall,
There's
dude.
a lot of tape on that wall.
There's a lot of tape on that wall.
Our wall is really small, and I bet you when we have tape problems up, we have more problems than block shop or boulders. We have a lot of problems up on that wall. Our turnover for the wall is around 2 months. There's a lot of stuff, and then one of the things we wanted to focus on is putting up a little bit less, more forerunning, so our days a little bit longer, but less problems, more forerunning, putting those comp style kind of problems up and those things that people like, and switching away from the tape. And we're doing this for the summer to see if the members like it, how they take it, because like for the past 7 years we've been tape. So yeah, hopefully people like it. Like obviously it's not as sparse as other gyms, like up the block. So on their session wall, they have like 2 problems per zone.
Okay.
And I was at Block Shop for training camp, and they have like 3 problems like per area. So we're kind of doing like 8 to 9 problems per zone, but all, different colors. And like obviously, the pink might look a little bit like red, and the red like orange, and blue like black like purple.
Yep.
So we're kind of testing this out over the summer and seeing how many we could get up, and if it works, and if the members are liking it, if there's enough stuff for everyone. So, but the wall is really small. It's not a bouldering gym; it's a route climbing gym. And I'm just, every time I look at that wall, I'm shocked at how we have some of the strongest kids in the country coming off that wall. Like Indiana's a girl that climbs at True North, and for her to be that strong from climbing on the True North bouldering wall is just like a testament to how much of a hard worker she is, because it's it's a tough, and it's a short wall. I think it's 14 feet to the ground, so with the pad it's like 13 feet or something like that, so it's not like Climbers Rock or up the block. Like it's not a tall wall.
I've talked to a couple kids who have wanted to train at some of the newer gyms around, but a lot of their training revolves around having a lot of options on the wall. So when you're done with the problems that are set, they can start building their own stuff or building, long circuits out of those things.
That's kind of like how this style was before, like how we had like so many tape problems. It's kind of like, like those Japanese gyms where you see like it's just a crazy backfill. So the kids were able to make up those circuits or those long boulder problems or even their projects. It was like a backfill with tape problems.
So, in response to that, we took our huge 45 and just like backfilled it, and that's been a really big experiment for us, because I kind of forced the issue, and I don't have a lot of experience in like, there's kind of a formula to doing that. We threw up the first bit of backfill, and then we took it down a couple months later, did it again, a few months later did it again, trying to figure out like how this thing works. And it's been awesome. But the kind of crappy part about it, first of all, your audience is really small, and a lot of that is because ours is a 45-degree like monster. So you could backfill like a vert wall, and probably more people would have fun on it. The backfill wall you guys are adding, you said like 20, 25?
That's 20 to 25.
That sounds pretty functional,
and so I've been setting at True North since day one. And I've been, Dustin was the former head setter, and he left after 2.5 years. So I've been like the senior setter, head setter, or something since then. And we've tested a lot of things in True North. Like a couple years ago, we did do like just the standard colors for the bouldering wall.
I remember that.
Back then we didn't have white or black or purple really, so it was like fewer problems. And I know I just said white, and if like Fred or Dustin listen to this, they're gonna like just throw their computer to the floor. Like, yes, we have white holds. They're not turning brown or yellow. We'll continue to get white holds.
Yeah, man.
But so now we have those colors. So that's working out. With we've tested out like backfilling sections of the bouldering wall, and like you said earlier, I wear so many different hats in the gym. So as an athlete, yeah, I want a backfill to make up my own stuff that will stay up longer.
Yeah.
As a coach, I want my kids to have a backfill,
Yeah.
so they can make up their own stuff, because it's hard making up a problem. Like my 5 o'clock elite group is like kids who are like from the age of like 12 to 18, and they're all different sizes, different genders. So making up an individual problem for all of them is quite tough. So having a backfill was great for them. But as like a head setter for the gym, commercial setting, backfilled wall sucks.
Yeah, dude.
Like members, like who the hell wants to go to a gym and make up their own problems? It's like going to a restaurant and going into the kitchen to make your own food.
Like
no one wants to do that.
Walking into the Mandarin and you just have rows and rows of buffet, but each one's just an ingredient.
Yeah, and you just like look at it and you're like, and you have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And some gyms with backfilled walls, it's kind of like you have to be a member there to like know the problems, right?
Oh yeah,
you have to be one of those strong guys.
Yeah.
And I go to gyms like up the block I love, and it's jam packed except for their backfilled wall.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
sure their elite team loves it.
Yeah.
And our team loved the backfilled wall at True North, but like members had no idea what they were doing. They didn't even touch it. And our wall's so short, are so small, we just couldn't do that. And we didn't do it for that long.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
So the backfield wall on top of the bouldering wall, because the angle is like 20-25 degrees, it'll really help some of the members and like the rec programs and advanced and pre-comp teams and the actual team.
Yeah.
So, and it'll get them off the bouldering wall, especially at peak times, which is why we have the slab and that wall up there. Because it's like having so many kids on that bouldering wall, especially like bouldering season, if we're doing circuits, like 5 on, 5 off, like we're lucky the members like the team. They've never complained. I know I've heard some horror stories in other gyms.
Yeah, dude.
But our members are super friendly and they jump off the wall for our kids to get on. And it's like a really good community, and everyone loves the kids there. So
cool. That sounds pretty wicked. But that said, you are leaving. You're kind of like keeping this route setting as your thing. You've decided you're going to spend less time coaching, but you went in for the national youth team for the season. And the season really, when you're a national youth coach, starts in July and ends in September. So it's not a huge
I guess this
thing.
year it's Pan Ams as well, but this is the first,
you're right.
First Pan
okay,
Ams,
totally. Since 2014.
Yeah. So it's been a
man.
while for that.
So why did you hop into that? What, like, I mean, you definitely want to be the best coach.
It was just now or never, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just I always found it kind of funny. Like my first year I applied, I didn't get it. And then second year I got it, but I had to turn it down for personal reasons. And then the third year I didn't get it. And then I was like, this is interesting. It's something I really wanted to do. And I said fourth year, I was like, oh, why not? And John at the gym kind of persuaded me. He's like, oh, you should do it. You know, I think you're really qualified. I think you'd get it. And then I got it. So I guess every other year I'll get it or something like that.
Yeah, man, I guess so.
But I was super psyched when I got it. It was a joy working with those kids in Montreal.
Yeah.
And like I've known Chris, the head coach, for many years. And working with him was awesome. And one of my brown brother from Altitude, Adrian Das, he's on the team. He's been on the team for years. And it's just, we just get along. Like we've set many comps together. I've seen what he looks like at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And just setting all of that, coaching all of that week in Montreal. And we get back to the hotel and then talk about coaching and talk about setting and talk about the CEC and talk about many wonderful things until 2 a.m. in the morning, and then do it all over again. Like it was an awesome trip.
That's right.
It was a lot of coaching though. I was exhausted.
Yeah. So I want to talk a lot about this because something that I want to do in Ontario is hopefully put together a training camp for our provincial kids before nationals. And there's a lot of places around, like we've kind of talked about this in the past, where it seems like national bodies are pretty good at putting together national training comps or national training camps. Sorry. Yeah. But on a regional level, it doesn't seem to happen as much, which is too bad because Toronto area being one of them, and then a lot of big areas in the States where you get a big chunk of kids that probably compete through locals and regionals and stuff down there. A lot could help them out, a chance to train together a bit more. So first of all, I just want to get some facts about this training camp. So the first one is like roughly how many kids were you guys dealing with and what categories did it span?
In Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal.
So Montreal, I think the first day was Canada Day. There was a meeting where this difficulty in speed athletes joined us. for that. And I think after that, the first 3 days were for difficulty and speed.
Okay.
And then the combined athletes were kind of there all week. So for those who don't know, the combined athletes do difficulty, bouldering, and speed. And most of them train on a speed wall, and some of them train on a quarter of a speed wall. So the first 3 days it was difficulty, speed, and bouldering, and then we had one day for the rest day, and we had some really good speakers come in and talk to the kids. And then the next 3 days were the bouldering athletes, the speed and difficulty left us, and the combined and bouldering athletes stayed for the last 3 days. So it was Saturday to Saturday. Then the Sunday after that was kind of a debrief with some of the athletes and the kids. We had B category kids, like some first year B kids, all the way to some junior kids. So
okay.
18 years old.
So having a ballpark of how many kids you guys were coaching at a time?
So the first 3 days, I think there was 28 athletes there. And we kind of split off into a couple different groups. Like the Sunday, there was 3 coaches, me, Jaleesa, and Adrian at Canyon.
Okay.
With the difficulty kids. And then the speed athletes went to Alley Up with Patrick, who's the speed coach, and Chris, the head coach. And then the 2 days following that, we were all at Alley Up. I think me and Adrian kind of stuck with the difficulty athletes, and Jaleesa and Patrick and Chris kind of stuck with the speed and combined.
Okay.
So they kind of switched combined. We're doing some speed and some difficulty, and then the bouldering athletes came in Wednesday night, and they started training on the Thursday, and I think we had 21 bouldering athletes there, and we were at the new block shop the Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday was the comp at the old block shop, the Cake Cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had, it sounds like 5 coaches?
5 coaches, so 4 assistant coaches, 1 head coach, and then 2 team physios.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And then you mentioned 3 separate gyms, so Canyon for a little bit?
Canyon for 1 day, Alley Up for 3 days, and Block Shop for 3 days. And, just so much respect to those gyms for hosting, to have these kids just run around in your gym and train hard, and there was a bunch of screamers, so bunch of screamers, Alex Fricker and Tosh and Lucas screaming their butts off. Big up to those gyms who were hosting, and it's we couldn't run the camp if these kids didn't want to rent out their gyms to us. So
aside from the staffing, the number of kids, the number of gyms, first of all, how long were the days the kids were climbing?
So there'd be like a session in the morning. We'd start around 9 o'clock and go until maybe 12 or 1, and then I think we had scheduled a 2-hour lunch, but usually it was a 1-hour lunch, and then we go from 1 or 2 until 5 p.m. usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is, how much stuff had to be set for this event? How many setters were involved?
So we had a really good setting crew. We had Caleb Thomas, who everyone knows. We had Oscar from Canyon, and then Fred from Block Shop, and they set all the mock comp routes for the kids. So that was a bunch of the routes at Canyon. Caleb put up all the speed routes for those athletes. They all put up more mock comp routes at Alley Up, and they did a mock comp at Block Shop. That was the first day, all World Cup style coordination, frustration kind of problems.
Cool. Were they putting up separate circuits for each category, or how are they dealing with that? That would be a ton of stuff.
It was a lot of categories and different genders went on the same routes and same problems.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You weren't involved in the setting, but
I was not. Chris did not want me and Adrian setting at all, because
that would be a lot of time, man.
I think Adrian and Matt Johnson in the past couple years set for the training camp and coached, and I think it was just a lot of work.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and I think this year Chris just didn't want us overworked. So
yeah, that's fair. As coaches, and I'm guessing you talk to the route setters as well, but what lessons are you guys trying to teach the kids in this time frame, right? There's so much to teach these kids, but what is it that you want them to all come away with?
Routes are going to be hard at Worlds. And then I think just the style. Adrian was the one who coordinated with all the route setters.
Okay.
He's the one who told them what styles he wanted to see. Adrian has I've never been to a youth worlds either competing or coaching at. Adrian has been to 4, and I think with the difficulty, he's seen everything.
Yeah.
Like big moves, progressive routes, cruxy routes, like really easy routes up to the 5th draw. Like he's seen it all.
Yeah, man.
But I think the routes for the training camp, he wanted just routes where you couldn't rest. It was kind of a lot of the holds were one-handed, big moves, awkward positioning. So yeah, and then for the bouldering side, he just wanted to focus on, because the kids are good at climbing hard. He wanted to focus on slabby coordination, dynamic stuff.
Yeah.
For the kids for the boulderings. And
You mentioned the term frustration style. Like, what do you mean by that?
Like, just problems where you didn't know exactly what to do, tricky coordination stuff, where you just like burn through attempts. Like I saw so many frustrated kids at block shop during the mock comp day. There's this one little boy there. His name is Lucas. He was pretty frustrated, and I think he didn't top a single problem. And these are all problems they could totally do, but if you don't keep your cool, it's like the frustration just builds and builds. And that's happened to me during comps. Like my most frustrating comp was a World Cup in Vail, and the slab, I just did the first problem out. They have this like little crappy slab wall in Vail. It's behind the main wall.
Yeah,
it's crap. And it's like it was like a 3 or 4 hold move problem.
Yeah.
And I just did not get it, and that just ruined me for the next 4 problems. And so the mock comp at Block Shop, it was just like the hardest problems were the first ones out, and it just ruined the kids for the next couple problems.
All the feedback I've heard from the kids was like, my skin doesn't exist.
Yeah, their skin. I'm like blessed with really good skin.
Yeah.
Like I don't set with gloves. I forerun everything. Even like when we used to do Tour de Blocks, we'd have like 50, 40 problems or whatever, and then finals, I'd forerun on brand new holds, like 3 days in a row. My skin is fine. We had some bouldering athletes who the first day climbing, their skin was done.
Yeah.
There was Mitchell and Zach.
Yeah.
Skin was done.
Well, I was hearing back from them because like they went to the event at the end of it, the Cake Cup competition, and apparently like Zach, you make finals, and just everything in your body's telling you like stop climbing right now.
Mitchell on the second day of bouldering at Block Shop, he had all 4 fingers taped. And it was like that green Evolve tape, so he kind of looked like the Wicked Witch of the West with like these green fingers, like just climbing, and he climbed, but it was like a lot of kids taped.
Yeah, dude.
And yeah, it was
harsh.
pretty funny. It was pretty funny to watch. But
do you think like a lot of these kids, the caliber's going up every single year,
for sure.
and a lot of these kids are training probably already like at least climbing like 5 days a week. Is it really just that? Do they have the discipline to handle themselves on these hard problems where they're like trying over and over again, or was it just the nature of the camp is going to like force you to get on stuff?
I feel bad for the combined athletes who were there all week. Like Lucas was there for difficulty in bouldering, but there was some like Indiana did all 3 disciplines throughout the whole camp, and so 3 days on for difficulty and speed, and then 1 day off, and then mock bouldering comp.
Yeah, man.
On brand new holds and like Waltopia walls, where it's like, I messaged all the kids Wednesday night, team Snap or whatever. I told them all wear pants to Block Shop.
Yeah.
I foreran the problems on Wednesday. Told them all to wear pants. None of them wore pants. They all wore their friggin' shorts. All busted up knees.
Yeah, dude.
Busted up shins. There's blood everywhere. So it was just they were just hard, frustrating problems. Their skin was gone, especially those combined athletes or those who were there for the whole week. And yeah, like it was, and they're trying hard, right? Like you have the top kids in the country.
Yeah.
And you have like I know Indiana really well. I've coached her for 7 years, and she doesn't want to beat the B girls. Mm-hmm. She wants to beat the junior girls.
Yeah, totally.
And you put her into a mock comp against Bronwyn.
Yeah.
Like, come on. She just wants to crush Bronwyn and Madison and like all these other girls. And so yeah, they were all trying very hard during the mock comp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know 1 or 2 athletes who had like pre-existing injuries came back with them aggravated. with that kind of schedule, was that something that you guys were aware of? And I know you had 2 physios with the crew, and obviously all you coaches are super, you keep track of that stuff. Is that something that everybody was kind of debriefed on, like, this is something we're
we had
having to deal with?
Some kids who dropped out of training camp before, like they didn't show up just because of pre-existing injuries.
Okay, yeah.
We had one girl who I can't remember what she did to her ankle, but she was pretty much in like a brace.
Okay.
And her mother actually emailed the coach emailed Chris to tell him she's probably gonna push it. Can you make sure she doesn't? So we were very careful with that athlete. We stick clipped the first clip for her. Really watched her. And some of the other athletes, they did have like pre-existing things, which the physios, they got treated for every single day. And the after the first day of the mock comp, we saw that the kids were wrecked. So the second day at Block Shop was toned down a lot. We knew they were competing on Saturday.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, we want the training camp to be difficult. We don't want anyone to get injured, but it's always up to the athlete to like let the coaches know if they're burnt out, if they're feeling a little tweaked, or if they can't climb anymore.
Do you think you'll need to change the schedule for next year? Like after this one, do you think they'll like kind of look at it again for next time?
Yeah, I definitely think the schedule will be a little bit changed for next year.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. You have a lot of coaches, and obviously you have a head coach, so there's somebody who's like technically in charge. You already talked about how you kind of divided the kids in groups, and so you had a few coaches in one area and a few coaches in another. What's always interesting for me is every coach comes with like different biases, experience with different weaknesses and different strengths, and some are better at helping communicate certain things than others. But you've got all these different coaches potentially talking to, one particular kid. How do you handle all of that input that's available to these kids? How do you streamline it? How do you keep everything focused? Like, do you divide who's talking to who? Is it relatively specific, or is the head coach defining a theme or anything like that? Or is it kind of a free-for-all?
I think for this camp, like this is my first training camp with the kids, I think the head coach, Chris, wanted the assistant coaches to kind of build the relationships with these athletes.
Okay.
At Worlds, it's mostly the assistant coaches in ISO with these athletes. So Chris is on the outside. He knows the rules the best. He's the one making appeals and watching everyone. So it was me, Patrick, Adrian, and Jaleesa really getting to know all the athletes. And yeah, some athletes we coach at our home gyms. Some kind of gravitate towards a certain coach just because they know the coach from their province, or like I found the junior boys kind of liked me a little bit more, so they come up to me.
Yeah,
Lucas
screw those
and
other
Taj
guys
and Alex and those guys, and I can relate to those guys a little bit better. I can be a little bit more myself, a little bit more friendly.
Totally.
But I think all the coaches tried to go around to all the athletes, and especially me and Adrian, because we're the ones going to Worlds.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get to know some of the athletes the best. I think most of the time it's for the A and junior, it was pretty easy to get to know them and for them to open up. For some of the B athletes, they're just like little like prepubescent teenagers who are just all kind of
and their first time in like
first
this like
time
they're away from home.
Shy. We had some these two boys who don't talk a whole bunch, a little bit shy. They're like really good climbers.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to break through to some of these athletes, especially like in like the span of like a week or 9 days. But I think to most athletes, I had my moment with them and they opened up a little bit. And,
cool.
Yeah.
Good.
But it's difficult. Some of them I don't even know. I've never even talked to at a comp before.
Yeah,
I've just seen them at nationals. So
yeah,
it's hard to get in there, and you have to be like on your A game. There's no like, oh, I'm kind of tired today, I can't coach well. Like at training camp, it's like I had to be on point. I had to like talk well and be motivational and inspire athletes. It was like I was there to freaking coach.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of feedback from a lot of the athletes that, I delivered on what I wanted to do. So that was really good.
The next thing I wanted to ask was, did you feel like you had to change how you coach for this setting? Or for this, setting is a weird word, for that scenario, for you?
For sure. I think like I've been coaching at True North for 7 years. And I have a 5 o'clock group who they've been with me for, most of them have been with me for that long. And it's sad because a lot of them are like aging out.
Yeah.
I've kind of coached this family the Wyatt family, and I just had the second sibling kind of age out.
Yeah.
And I have one more, and he's gonna be gone in a couple years. So yeah, I'm super friendly with them. They tell me a lot of stuff about their personal lives, their home life, gym stuff. So yeah, it's I'm coach but a friend, and I think they relate to me because I treat them how I would treat like my setters or the people I work with or my own friends. I don't treat them like kids. And I think that's why they relate well to me. And obviously, like, the way I will speak to like a buddy of mine is not exactly how I should be speaking to someone who's like 14 or 15, but that's kind of how I speak to all my kids. So going to training camp, I had to, kind of treat some of the kids like kids and be a little bit more professional because it's a national level training camp. But I think by the end of it, I gave most of the kids a taste of how I actually coach at my home gym, and I think the kids kind of like that because I had some kids open up to me, and I got a lot of hugs on the last day of training camp, and so I think it was good. So my coaching style had to change, but each day I was kind of morphing into Shaun, coach from True North, and
dude, I think
it was received well. So.
Even though you're not going to be doing much coaching after this, at least for apparently this season, do you feel like the way you coach might change after this experience? Is there anything you picked up that you want to incorporate into how you communicate climbing?
From the training camp, I guess just learning kind of, because there was 3 other assistant coaches and the head coach, and we all kind of coach at different gyms, and it's just picking up on things that like work well for them. It's kind of like the same thing when I go and set comps, working with so many setters. Like some things work well for them, and you pick up on little like tricks and stuff like that. So I don't think my coaching style would change, but I did kind of pick up on a couple little things that I would change, or just things that I would say to like either inspire athletes or to get them to listen to me. And even some of we had a sports nutritionist there, and we had a sports psychologist there, and we had Steve Bechtel there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
He knows his shit.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing being around him.
Cool.
Just listening to him talk, and just some of the things, like I have some athletes who like to overtrain, and it's just interesting, like Steve kind of broke it down to the athletes, like, you know what, you wouldn't go home and brush the shit out of your teeth and then they would like be bleeding and hurt, and you'd be like, yeah, that was a good like session. I don't have to brush my teeth for 3 days.
Yeah.
So it was really good hearing that. To some of that stuff, I'll use that definitely for the kids.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's just stuff that I picked up on, but I think my coaching style wouldn't really change from the camp.
It's like you and I both, like, I'm done coaching now. It's not something I want to get back into.
High five.
Yeah, high fives for that, man. And I think we can probably relate in a lot of this stuff. Like, I mean, coaching for me was, I happened to be in the building, and I think my gym suddenly didn't have a coach for a rec program, and they knew me, and they knew I was like a good guy, and I was into climbing, so I helped out on a part-time basis. And just slowly over time, you end up being kind of the head coach of the competitive program. I have no background in coaching, and before climbing I have no background in athletics at all. So I'm not the guy that you want like coaching a high level program. So getting out of it's nice. Hopefully it clears up space for other people to do a really good job with it. But my personality, you know, I can do an authority thing in some cases, but the switching between from being a relatable person who people feel comfortable with and feel they can be honest with, and the authority thing, I never figured out how to do both. And I'm always going to be more comfortable in a setting where I'm just being very Tyler, right? Like I'm just being me. So that relationship build up, but always honest with my kids. I'm like, you know, you guys got to start looking at who your next coaches are going to be, because I have all of these personality failings that aren't going to help you out in the long run. I'm curious if throughout your like coaching career and then now making this switch, if you like if you feel like your personality or you are best built for something like that, like
for coaching.
No,
my personality is not suited for coaching. If you've set a comp with me or set with me in the gym, I'm very jokey. I'm very inappropriate. I swear like a trucker. So it's and it's my 5 o'clock group knows me well. But with the other kids, national team, it's like I gotta I gotta be the coach that people expect me to be. And yeah, I totally get like you're being Tyler, and sometimes you have to be the coach. And I would say most of the time, yeah, I'm Shaun to my 5 o'clock kids.
Yeah.
And then some of the times I have to, be the authority figure when they do something bad.
Yeah.
Because some of them are pretty young and they do stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like some of them were like 12, and some of them have been coaching since like they were 7.5.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
Indiana, she was in rec at 7.5, and
Yeah.
now she's 14.
Yeah.
She just did her first lead season. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah, it's messed
dude.
up. So, I don't think my personality is like best suited for coaching, and I've definitely gone in trouble a couple times over the years just for language and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's me, and if you don't like me as a coach, then find another coach.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I'm curious if like, because there's a generation of coaches, like people like us,
Yeah.
right, that started, we had no necessarily qualifications for doing that, except that we were super into climbing. And hopefully there are people coming up that are like pros at this.
The kids, like, they relate more when you're real, right?
Oh, yeah,
And
for
if you
sure.
build a relationship with someone,
Yeah.
they're gonna want to work harder for you.
Yeah, that
so
might
if
be
you're
true.
like a pro coach,
Yeah.
you're just like a teacher at school.
Yeah.
Like kids at school, they don't want to work hard for their teacher to make their teacher proud.
Yeah.
If you're working hard for your buddy that you relate with, you're gonna be more passionate about your climbing and training, and work hard for them.
That's true.
And I think that's why a lot of the kids have liked me over the years, because I'm their friend who's kind of their coach, and it's making them more passionate. And sometimes I climb with them and train with them, and I think that's way better for some athletes.
What is it that you have that I so I don't think the relationship I have with my kids, which is only really developed as they get older,
Yeah.
like I have no,
Yeah.
it's hard to be yourself around younger kids.
For
We already
sure.
talked about this. I don't think the kids I've coached in the past felt more passionate about performing well to impress me. And the first thing I can see is, first of all, I'm not a competitive climber.
Yeah.
Like I'm not somebody that has a resume for being really sick at this. Like I like managing gyms. That's super fun for me.
That's just, I would kill myself. Kellen's the same way. Kellen's like, I want to manage a gym when I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Manage a gym.
So my kids can't respect me as an athlete. But like, is there some part of your personality that I don't have that makes
I think
them want to like impress you?
Hopefully I remember, but there's two things I will talk about to answer that question. One is, I think of myself as like the jobs, the different hats I have in the gym. I'm like, I have the rock star life. I'm the head setter. I go and set comps. I compete. I coach. Like that's all the bomb ass stuff you want to do in a gym. So, and then I have the attitude for that. I'm like the coach who is relatable, who swears, and I'm like the mean coach. I'm the coach who will tell you what you're doing wrong more times than what you do right.
Okay.
And I've had kids who want to be in my group because of that.
Yeah.
Like they want to be with the mean coach. And I have this super strong girl. It's been climbing for a year now. She's a former gymnast.
Okay.
And I swear in 1 year she's gone from like V3 to like V8, V9.
Wow.
It's insane. And throughout the year she was in another group, and she wanted to be in my group, and the mother just didn't get it.
Yeah.
The mother's like, you're just the mean coach who swears all the time. Why does my daughter want to be in your group? And the kids like it.
Yeah.
And the kids love me. And I think it's just being relatable to them. Wearing all these hats, the kids see it. And there's this awesome quote by, what's his name? C.T. Thomas. He's a motivational speaker. And he says, everyone wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do.
Okay.
So if I'm going to be a beast, I got to be a beast like all the time with every aspect of climbing and everything I do. So wearing the hats, and then also as a competitor, I'm sure the kids look up to me. Like they see me climbing with them in the gym, training hard, doing well at comps. I'm trying to sucker one of my ex-junior boys into coaching next year.
Cool.
Jack Wyatt. And obviously it's hard because his brother's on the team. And, so it's like siblings.
Yeah, that can be weird.
Had the Wyatts forever, and they fought with each other forever.
Yeah, man.
And I asked Ethan, I'm like, if Jack was your coach next year, would you listen to him? He's like, no. no way. I'm like, but why? Like, Jack's strong. Why not? He's like, he doesn't have the climbing experience as you. I'm like, Jack's been climbing for 7 years. He has a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Jack's not as strong as you. He doesn't do well at comps like you do. So, yeah, no, I won't listen to him. So, yeah, for sure. The kids see that, and then they see me, like, go to K Cup and, like, coach all week.
Yeah.
And then K Cup, and then I qualified second going in the finals. And these kids, some of them out west, never seen me climb before. And I have one of them, Alex Fricker, who's like freaking out. Like, oh, Shaun, like, what's on your scorecard? Like, how many problems? What attempts? I'm like, I don't know, Alex. I didn't look at it. What? You didn't look at your scorecard? I'm just trying to see if I made it. I'm like, dude, calm down. Like, who cares? Just whatever. And then, so for some of them, for kids on my team to see me do well at comps like that, and just for me, because like I said earlier, I want to crush these kids. I want to coach them well, but crush them in comps. And just, I did all right in finals. I had 2 kids beat me, which is, frustrating.
Yeah, man.
Friggin' Lucas and friggin' flashed the problem. So, yeah, it's definitely inspiring to the kids, especially when I talk about my goals to them. Like wanting to be on the national team or set nationals or coach the national team, and watching me train hard or work hard to achieve those goals is definitely inspiring as a coach.
Well, okay, so I can't do the competitive thing, and I feel like I'm more of like the sad, very doubtful coach rather than the angry coach or whatever. So, okay, that's the 2 things right there that I got to fix before I'm ever a coach again.
For sure, the kids, like,
glad we figured that out.
They look up to you, and like I've had kids recite things I've said to them 4 years ago. They listen to every word you say.
Yeah,
it's insane. You have no idea how much you're gonna change an athlete's life.
Yeah.
And they say that's like one of the greatest things in life is to change other people's lives. And I've done that for so many years. But I feel like now it's time to like change my own life. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm taking a step back from coaching, just so I could compete and set comps and stuff like that. Because it's really hard wearing all these hats.
Yeah, man, I can relate to that completely. Like I don't know what's next, but yeah, for me it's unfortunately the kids end up being one of the biggest things you love about the job.
Yeah.
I was doing coaching and then management, and the management thing's fairly easy to let go. I love all the people I worked with, but the responsibility, it's easy to feel like things are going to be okay. For the kids, it's a lot harder because they become a part of your life in so many ways.
That's awful.
But it's time to, I got to figure something else out.
Pull at your friggin' heartstrings, man.
Dude, it's
like,
rough.
I started at TCA. I was there for 4 years. I developed the rec programs there, and there was some kids. These were rec kids. I didn't want to leave them.
Yeah. It's nuts.
I didn't want to leave them. And I had some of these kids. I had like Charlie Prosser was one of those kids. I had Lucas Uchida was one of those kids. And like I had to switch gyms, and I knew that gym they were never going to have a competitive team, and I had to tell these kids to go to Boulders because they had a team. They were going to provide for them what they needed. And then it was hard leaving those kids. And I know when Kellen left Coyote, it was super hard for him to leave.
That would have been brutal, man.
And so I've been coaching at True North for 7 years, and it's like that initial group of kids, that 5 o'clock group. I love those kids. Like I would die for those kids, but I've made it a point to never get that close to kids again. Because if I keep getting that close, I won't want to. I won't want to leave. I'll want to coach forever, and I just have to do other stuff.
That's
and some of those kids who I love, like they'll be training with me next year, so I'll still be a part of their life. But yeah, it's hard. Don't get attached to people. Like don't do it. Just run away.
Yeah, that's a good life lesson.
Yeah,
all
don't ever love something or someone. They'll leave you in the end, right? And that's the thing. It's like coaching these kids.
This is dismal.
Coaching these kids, and knowing that they're gonna leave you one day. Right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
No, not maybe. They're gonna leave you.
Yeah,
gonna
that's
age
true.
Out.
That's true.
They're gonna go to university or get a job. Like last thing you want for them is to work in the climbing gym, right?
Yeah.
So that's the last thing their parents want. Is for them. What? You're gonna work in the climbing gym?
Yeah, just make something of your life.
$36,000 a year? I don't think so. I'm not living in my basement. Yeah. So they're gonna leave you. And yeah, it's great to be part of their lives, but it's sad when they leave you.
Yeah.
It's sad when they age out. They go to other gyms. They go to switch provinces, go to university. It's like, no, I don't want that kind of heartbreak in my life anymore.
Yeah, I I'm sure parents and teachers would completely disagree with like
Yeah,
how
for
similar
sure.
things are, but I can I'm nowhere near having a family, right? That
Yeah.
is either a while from now or never. And there's a lot that I've learned about, like, interacting with people
Yeah.
that, if, a teacher has to, lose kids every single year, that's tough.
Yeah.
Parents, their kids going off to university. There's a lot of things that maybe it's not the same magnitude, but yeah, it kills you, dude.
I think it's different with coaching because you go through so many more experiences and emotions with the kids. Like for a teacher, it's like they just go to the class and you see them for however long, right? But with kids, it's like you suffer with them. You feel joy with them. You're going across country with them, right?
I was one of those like nerdy kids that loved school, so teachers were like a huge deal to me. So hopefully I was a big deal to them too.
I had one teacher that completely changed my life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you hope you're that for your kids.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, that's the thing that has been hardest for me, and I guess we'll put it out there, but like, you hope you mean as much to them as they mean to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, you hope they do awesome, and you're gonna like love these kids and support them forever. And you think about it, and you're like, the friends I had in high school, they didn't give a shit what went on with their teachers, like after they're done with them in that class. You're like, shit, is that what like all these kids think? It's a brutal thing to think about, but I guess that's what it is, right? Like, I mean, I've been fortunate now to have younger friends, and I've also got much older friends, and starting to hang out with people that are 20 years older than me, and also kids that are 10 years younger than me, and it's maybe it's just something you have to get used to, that maybe not everything is equal all the time.
Yeah, it's weird. Just like you'll never know how much someone cares about you until you leave, right? Like, I told some of my kids I'm not coming back next year. There was some tears, and like everyone went silent. And it's just like, oh no.
Well, how much of a surprise was that to your kids? Because I gave all my families a full year's notice. I was like, this is the last year I'm doing this. I am gone.
It was
after that.
It was like it was trying to figure out with the owner and the assistant coaches what I was going to do. So it was back and forth. But with the kids, there was nothing. They had no idea it was coming.
Okay.
And I just kind of told them.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, so it was tough for them. But like, I'll still be in the gym, and some of them I'll still be climbing with.
The comp scene right now, like the second kids hit 16, they're relevant right away, right? Like, so many of these strong kids, they're that age already.
Yeah.
Do you think you're like one of the last guys that'll be like setting competitive goals in their late 20s, early 30s?
Man, like,
is it all going to come down to the kids?
Like, I don't feel old, but
I'm with you, dude.
I'm probably like 30 is pretty old. Like,
well, Shaun McCall will be turning 30 this year as well. There's other guys on the circuit that retired around the same age. So it's been going on for a little bit.
I don't even know why I'm competing. Like, I must be delusional, like, to want to like make the team and do well at comps and go to World Cups. But just looking at like Jason Hollowatch, like, he's an older athlete and he's doing well.
And he's bothering to run a gym and all that stuff at the same time. So I mean, there you go.
So I'm never gonna let my age like determine what my goals will be. If I want to do something, I'm gonna do it, like, no matter what it is. Like, no one's gonna tell me what to do or what not to do in my life. I only live once. So if my goal is to crush these kids, I'll crush these kids. If I have to work harder because I'm older, I'll do it. If I'm a little bit heavier than them, have a little more muscle, I gotta like pull more weight up the wall, I'll pull more weight up the wall.
Yeah.
It's like I could out train anyone. I could out motivate anyone. I could be the hardest worker in the room. So you can't beat me that way.
Yeah.
So
just gonna crush these kids.
Hoping to, unless friggin' man and you flash a problem at K-Cup and beat me and Lucas but yeah, it's motivating. Like, I like, why not try? Like, the only real failure is not trying. So like, you got to do what you got to do, what you're passionate about. You got to be fulfilled, with your life. So
cool. Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good note to end this on. Let's leave it there. Crush these kids. Don't stop trying. Shaun, thanks a million for coming out and hanging out here. And well, I guess I'll see you at the next OCF meeting.
Yeah, I'll see you at the next OCF
But for everybody else, I know we'll talk soon, and we'll keep talking climbing.
Cool. Thanks. It was a joy. And yeah, do what you're doing. Tyler, you seem like you're living the dream, doing what you want, having your head in the clouds.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'll keep doing that until the money runs out.
Yeah, until the money. It's climbing. There's lots of money in climbing, So
Totally.
parents, make sure your kids are working in climbing gyms when they're older.
Yeah, dude.
Making the big bucks.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
From.
Since this episode was recorded, Shaun has moved on from his job at True North and is pondering his next move while studying acting in his free time. Shaun also just finished up coaching at the World Youth Championship in Innsbruck, where his longtime athlete, Indiana Chapman, became the highest finishing Canadian ever in a youth championship bouldering event, ending in 4th place. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Plastic Weekly. Thanks to Shaun Hunter for answering my questions, and thanks to you guys for listening. Plastic Weekly is presented by me, Tyler Norton. And if you like this episode, leave a review on iTunes. You've got no idea how much it helps the podcast. Make sure you visit plasticweekly.com to find footnotes, references, and other bonus content related to our episodes. And if you enjoy what Plastic Weekly does, consider supporting my Patreon at patreon.com/plasticweekly. I got some cool stickers made. I think they'd look great on your bumper, and they're available exclusively to my patrons. If you want to get in touch with me, you can leave a comment at plasticweekly.com, and you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can send me an email to tyler@plasticweekly.com with your comments, concerns, questions, compliments. Just tell me you're out there somewhere. Good luck to everyone competing at Adidas Rockstars and the European Youth Bouldering Championships this weekend. We'll be thinking about you. Talk to you next week.